In this video, we're going to walk through creating a custom part that places a single item and references product data from a CSV file. The intent of this video is to show creating a custom part to be used with the placing tools, but even for manually modeling, a simple component like the one we'll be creating today can offer a lot of benefits. For example, if you were going to model an item without the component, you would have to find that shape in the catalog, and this can be especially difficult if the shape names are product codes. Product data might not be saved to the item, which would also require additional steps. With a custom part, you can easily find the item you want to place and includes all of the relevant product data that will be used in reports and drawings. Here are the 3 items I'll use with one component. The product for these items are saved in a CSV file inside of my model folder. To define a custom component, open the Applications and Components catalog and select the Advanced Features icon and pick Define Custom Component. This will launch the wizard dialog, and in the first tab, we'll change the type to be a part and enter a name. And it's recommended to disable the option under the Advanced tab and to not use the center of bounding box in positioning. Back to the first tab, enter the name of the custom part and press Next. Select the objects to be included in the custom part. In the model, select 2 points. The first point will be at the item's start or yellow handle, and the second point is in the direction from the item's yellow to magenta handle. After the points have been picked, press Finish and the component's created. Now this component will be saved into the catalog and it will be under ungrouped items. Now when you place this component, it's pretty much the same as adding an item into the model. So you define 2 points. The second point just defines the direction. So the functionality isn't too different just yet. We can now add this to the Formwork tools, but now we'll go into the editor and add our variables and make it more intelligent. Now let's open the custom component editor. You can right click on the component in the model or in the catalog and select Edit Custom Component. There's 4 new views that are created that you can use for editing the objects in the component. I'm going to close all views except the perspective view. The main component toolbar is located here, and we can access all their dialog windows that we'll be using. The browser shows objects within the component, which we'll use to modify the shape of the item, other general properties, and its user-defined attributes. And it can be closed and reopened from the main toolbar. For this component, we will only be writing properties and not adding bindings or have any special parametric features. So this work is going to be done only through the variables window. These variables are going to appear in the component dialog box if we have their visibility set to show. So let's first define a variable to control the shape of the item. The value type will be a shape, and if this option is selected, you have the ability in the dialog to open up the shape catalog. We'll add a label, and in the formula column is going to be the input, value or equation. I'll copy and paste the shape name of the item that's currently inside my component. And now we can link this variable to the item in the component browser. You can right click on the property, select Add Equation, and after the equals sign, add the variable name. Now let's go to the toolbar, close and save our component, and look at what's been done so far. I'm going to explode the component to keep the original item there. So now let's go back into the editor and define the remaining variables. And I'm going to open my CSV file with the product data so you can see how these functions are working. We'll first create a variable to define the name of the file and then each of the properties that we want to link to the item from that CSV file. The value types will also be adjusted based on the property. All will be a text value type besides class, which will use number, and material will use the material value type. In the formula column for the variable file, enter the name of the reference file. For the remaining variables, we're going to be using reference functions. For equations, they'll always start with an equals sign, and this is a special function to reference data in a delimited file. This function will start with FVF with the second letter and third letter capitalized. Now we need to enter 4 values in a set of parentheses. The first field is the file name. The second value is going to be in column 1 of the file and cannot contain any spaces. That's your key row identifier. The third value defines the column for that row. Then the last value is the separator of that file. You'll notice when I open my CSV in Excel, it's automatically delimited and you don't see that separator of a semicolon. This is a Windows option and you can adjust that setting, and by default it's a comma. Once I hit enter, you can verify it's working by checking the value column. The rest of the variables will use the same equation and can be copied. The only value that needs to be changed in my case is the number for the column value. Now these values aren't yet linked to the item, so now we can show how to link these to the item's user-defined attributes in the component browser. I'll first add the general properties for name, class, and material. In the user-defined attributes section, only values that the item currently have will be visible. This part already had the properties for the UDAs I needed. I'm going to delete those fields out and pretend like I didn't have any to begin with. And in that case, they won't appear in the list. So you first need to make sure that they have those values in the UDA properties dialog. So you can add some dummy variables or values since they will be referenced from our variables list. And every time you need to view another UDA property, add that property to the part and then refresh the browser and you'll be able to see those. Now these variables can be added to the item. That completes everything that we are going to do inside of this component. Let's exit and save. And there's one step left that we'll need to do, which is creating the attributes for our custom part. So we can easily grab and place these items. Let's create a standard setting for our component as well. So my description is going to be the saved as attribute. And then for each of those attributes, I'll just need to make sure that that shape field is correct. Now when you save and create the attribute file, make sure it only has text that Windows can use in a file name. I'll need to change the / of this description just to use a different character. Now let's do a short review over what we've created. Now to place this item, I'll go over to the component catalog, double click on the component, then I can choose my attribute and place the item. And if we inquire on these parts, you can see it also includes all of the product data from that external file. That concludes the content for this presentation. If you have other questions, please reach out to your local Tekla support or visit the Tekla user assistance for more articles and videos on this topic.